Have you ever been on one of those business trips where you see way more of the airport and a hotel conference room than the actual city you're in? Well, today we're diving into a huge shift in how we work that's changing all that. It's called Bleisure travel, and it's this simple but honestly brilliant idea of mixing business trips with some much-needed vacation time. We've all been there, or at least heard the stories. You fly into some amazing city for work, but you spend the entire time in a total blur of meetings and PowerPoint slides. This quote, it just perfectly captures that feeling of a massive missed opportunity that for so long was just the reality of business travel. But that whole era is quickly coming to a close. All right, so let's get right into it. What exactly is this thing we're calling Bleisure? Let's break it down. At its heart, Bleisure is actually really simple. It's when you take a business trip that's already been approved and you just tack on a few personal days for yourself, either at the beginning or at the end. So maybe you fly in a couple of days early to get over the jet lag and explore, or you stay through the weekend after your meetings are done. The key is that it's personal time that's officially attached to a work trip. And I want to be clear here, this isn't some niche little perk for a few Silicon Valley startups. No way. Bleisure is absolutely exploding into a massive global market, and the numbers behind this trend, they are pretty staggering. Just wrap your head around this for a second. Back in 2022, the Bleisure market was already worth over $315 billion. That's how common this already was. But honestly, what's really mind-blowing is where this is all going. Look at this. Projections show the market more than doubling to over $731 billion by 2032. So yeah, this isn't just a fleeting trend. This is a fundamental change in how we think about work and travel. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. The Bleisure market is growing at a rate of almost 9% a year. Now, to put that into perspective, that is nearly 3 times the growth rate of the entire global economy. This chart right here really shows you just how much power and momentum is behind the shift. So, what's fueling all this? Why is this happening right now? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm. We're all demanding better work-life balance. Remote work has totally blurred the lines of where and when we work. Companies are finally waking up to the insane cost of employee burnout. And you've got younger generations who don't just see travel flexibility as a nice perk, they see it as a basic expectation. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great for employees, but what's in it for the company? Well, it turns out this is a huge strategic advantage for employers too. It's what you'd call a genuine win-win. The real magic of Bleisure is that everybody benefits. For you, the employee, it means saving a ton of money on a vacation because, hey, the company already paid for the most expensive part, the flight. You get a real break and come back refreshed, not exhausted. And for the company, sometimes they can actually save money on a cheaper return flight. But the real payoff is in their people. It boosts morale, it boosts productivity, and it becomes this incredible tool for attracting and keeping the best talent out there. And I'm not kidding, this is a huge deal when it comes to hiring. I mean, look at these numbers. 65% of millennials and 59% of Gen Z say they will specifically choose to work for companies that offer Bleisure. So if you want to attract that next generation of top talent, this isn't really optional anymore. Okay, so maybe you're sold on the idea, but the big question is, how do you actually implement this without it turning into a complete logistical nightmare? Well, it all comes down to having a really clear, really simple policy. And that entire policy, really, it just boils down to answering one very simple question. Who pays for what? Once you draw a crystal clear line between what counts as business and what counts as leisure, everything else just falls into place. So, here's how it usually works. The company pays for the flight, but only what it would have cost for a normal, business-only trip. If staying longer makes that flight more expensive, well, the employee pays the difference. Simple. The company pays for the hotel and your food, but only on the official business stays. The second your vacation starts, everything, the hotel, the meals, the sightseeing, that's on you. It's clean, it's fair, it works. And this brings us to a super important legal point, something called duty of care. Now, that's the company's legal responsibility for an employee's safety and, this is key, it only applies during the official business part of the trip. The moment your personal leisure time begins, you're traveling at your own risk. And that is exactly why having your own personal travel insurance is an absolute must. So to bring it all together, a really solid policy has 4 pillars. First, you have to clearly define and approve the business versus personal days before the trip even happens. Second, you need clear rules for who pays for what. Third, you have to be totally explicit about the company's liability. And finally, you set some basic guidelines for things like bringing a partner or what the communication expectations are. You see, getting a policy like this right isn't just about sorting out the logistics. It's about really aligning your company with the future of work itself. So, what does that future actually look like when you put it into practice? So, where are people actually going for these trips? Well, it's a mix of these major business hubs that also just happen to be incredible places to visit. Think about it, cities like New York, London, Paris, and Sydney. They're the perfect spots where you can close a huge deal on a Tuesday and then be exploring a world-class museum by Saturday. I mean, just look at this. This really captures the whole spirit of it, right? A work trip to a place like Cuba or Qatar is no longer just about sitting in meetings. It's about turning an obligation into a real opportunity for exploration and adventure. And hey, if you needed any more proof that Bleisure has officially gone mainstream, here it is. It's not some secret little perk anymore. There are entire magazines dedicated to this lifestyle. The future of work travel isn't coming, it's already here on the newsstand. So let's wrap this all up. Here's the bottom line, the one thing you should take away from all this. Bleisure is so much more than just a nice little perk. It is a smart, strategic part of any modern company that wants to be built around its employees. It boosts everything from retention to morale to productivity, which really just leaves us with one final thought. We all know that old, rigid line between our work lives and our personal lives is just dissolving. So the real question isn't if companies should adapt to this new reality, it's how they're going to adapt to the way we all want to work and travel right now.